James here from the Gator Nation Football Podcast, bringing you a film breakdown of Florida's defense versus LSU. This will be a frustrating breakdown to watch, but in reality, every single defensive breakdown I've done this season has been quite frustrating. This game, of course, was, in my opinion, one of the most embarrassing and disappointing losses for Florida in the modern era. And on this channel, we will analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly. As always, if you like the content, like this video, sub to this channel. Check out the podcast each and every Monday where we bring you in-depth analysis on the Florida Gators. Follow us on social media, and as always, drop us a dono on Patreon. Without further ado, let's take a look at Florida's defense. Florida knew coming into the game that if Max Johnson played, he's a West Coast quarterback, wants to get rid of the ball quickly, struggles to throw the deep ball accurately and or well, and therefore the game plan would be a lot of east-west orientation. Not a lot was known about whether Max Johnson was going to run the ball a lot, but the traditional rules of football still apply, which is making sure you maintain the edge. Now here you're going to see Zach Carter sink a little bit too far in. This is really not going to be on him. This is going to be on James Houston. Look how long it takes James Houston to recognize that this ball has not been handed off. Max Johnson already rolling out this way. James Houston still looking here at the running back. In fact, he's still looking at him, still looking at him, still looking at him, still looking at him. Look at this. He is still looking at him. Max Johnson has the ball. Houston is still over here looking at him, looking at him, looking at him. Now, just now, he recognizes he does not have the ball. Now, if he had recognized this earlier, he'd already be here, and then he'd be here, and this play wouldn't happen. But instead, super late to recognize, and by now, he's not going to touch him. We're going to pick up a healthy 9 or 10 yards. Max Johnson had a lot of carries in this game and wound up doing quite a bit of significant damage to Florida's defense. LSU going to run some flag football style plays here, although you're not often going to fake a handoff in flag football, but this happens all the time, right? We're going to attack the line of scrimmage. By attacking the line of scrimmage, we're going to then pull in the free corner here who's coming in and run support, and once we do that, we're going to throw a pass out here to our now uncovered receiver. There it is. And then let him pick up 9 or 10 yards. Nice little play. In fact, I actually think there's a lot of room in football for more plays like these. You could argue this is really the extension of an RPO. This is sort of the next zone read RPO, zone read it. Instead of coming out here this way by attacking the downhill line of scrimmage, you take the conflict defender, you make him commit. Now you have a safety here versus, of course, a receiver here. And you could do more than just run pop routes. But either way, LSU letting Florida know early on that they are going to throw everything at them. This is the second try for LSU, and Florida came into this game, obviously, especially in the D-line, not respecting Max Johnson's running ability. And LSU came in thinking Florida's going to do that essentially, and we will be able to get them, and that was accurate. Here you can see Cox bull rushing up the field, rushing this quarterback as though he cannot move at all. LSU, this is actually a dedicated quarterback run right out here. Now this tells you a lot. It tells you, one, they think Cox is prone to over rushing. We have seen Cox on film get better and better every single game at gap control. I think they're mainly thinking Cox is not going to have any respect for Max, and therefore we will take advantage of that early. If you're playing a quarterback who can run, you want your defensive line all to be around the same level. And that allows you, obviously, to help each other. So if he's juking around back here, wants to escape this way or go this way, you can essentially 2-on-1 him. If you do have a running quarterback, the worst thing you can do is have someone blow way upfield, and now you're creating space for him. So it's all about containing in space. Again, Florida not knowing at this point in time the kind of runner that Max is. This is a dedicated run, although Kyrie Campbell almost happens to sort of luck his way into this gap. He's going to get outside nicely and pick up quite a few easy yards for LSU. If you watched the breakdown video, you saw how well LSU was 4-on-3ing Florida on the 3-man side, 4-on-3ing here, and 2-on-1ing over here. Now, right away, you're going to notice that Florida's spacing is so much different than how LSU spaced it. Florida's spacing, in my opinion, much less efficient, and obviously it creates, I believe, some problems in the coverage area. Florida going to try to deny the slant route by moving Cox back into the window. He's not going to do a great job, and then having Steiner come in. But most importantly, Florida's going to do what Florida tends always to do, which is on third down to play some very soft coverage, rubbing salt into the wound. We can take a look and see that the three best receivers for LSU are not playing, as well as a host of other players, since LSU only wound up finishing the game with 46 or so scholarship players. Let's just make this more painful. Now, we knew leading into this game on the film breakdown I had put out that, again, Max is more of a West Coast quick release offensive quarterback, which means he wants to make his read almost right away. Here is Trevez Johnson, who has consistently put out film this year, of just not being good. And he's a freshman. I haven't seen a lot that makes me think he's really going to turn into a great player for Florida or a player that should be playing at all. Not to malign him or obviously make him feel bad about himself, but what you put on film is what you are, and you got to put better stuff on film if you want to get recognized for the right things. And this is just obviously not going to get it done. I mean, again, I've said this before. If you want to play defense, you have to play defense. If you want to do this, you might as well just sit in the stands with me and have a hot dog and watch the game, because that's not playing defense. It's third down and 5. You're letting a West Coast quarterback make the easiest read ever and throw a little bunny slant with absolutely no opposition. You don't even touch him until he's already caught the pass. Now, is this all Trevez's fault? No, because regardless of who's lining up at nickel for Florida, we're playing way soft, and this is the technique that we're using. So I'm almost always going to blame a coach over a player when it comes to things like this. In this case, this is just poor technique, poor fundamentals, too late on the route. You're giving the opposing team what they want. Compounding matters here. Take a look at how Florida tries to guard the slant route. Cox is supposed to be in the slant window. Notice how LSU would just calmly step here and wait for it. Cox taking extra steps, overrunning the route. Here comes Steiner, of course, to take it away, but this is just not a clean-looking exchange at this point in time in the year, and this is just ridiculous. Again, it's something Florida puts on film. Each and every game, it's depressing, frustrating, uncalled for, not sound, not good. There's really just no defending it. We've talked about Florida's issues with allowing teams to get a free release. Here's our bunch set, and we're going to let a receiver here get a free release and run basically a drag all the way across the end zone. Steiner is going to match up against him, a guy who's often mentioned on these film studies. And then here's Marco Wilson staying on top of this route. Here it comes. Again, a big, fat over route. Nicely thrown ball by Max right in there. Brad Stewart actually does a nice job to recognize this. Brad Stewart, nice job to recognize this. Try to climb to get in the underneath window. Steiner, though, again, not playing defense. I have no idea why he's looking around and holding his arms up, by the way. You can watch this play a million times. Take a look. Here's Steiner. There's an in-breaking route. Who's that supposed to be? Again, we could, if we're going to say anyone is culpable, it's Trevez, because he's a freshman. Perhaps he's wrong. Doesn't know where he's going, but it's clear that Trevez is shadowing 5, and that seems to be reasonable given how everyone else is playing defense. All in all, Steiner looking for help from a place that I think it's just Steiner's fault. And also, this can be so simply avoided if we're just making contact. Make contact with these receivers. I mean, they're on the 5-yard line here. You have a West Coast quarterback, a freshman, not a lot of experience. Don't allow him to get a full head of steam and come all the way across your defensive backfield. Again, that's just not sound. 1st and 10 for LSU. West Coast quarterback, Max Johnson. Meet super soft Florida coverage from the nickel and Trevez Johnson or anyone else that Florida wants to put there, besides the guy I wish they would put there, Chester Kimbrough. There's just so many things that we could talk about that I've already talked about. Watch previous videos, listen to the podcast. You'll get all the information you want to know about my thoughts on what the film has indicated Florida should or should not be doing. But this, obviously, again, this is just too easy. It's 1st down and 10. Again, look at this. Catches the ball. Trevez doesn't touch him until he gets 11 yards. He's running a basic slant route. He has inside help. He should be so much more aggressive on this. This is everything you want as an interior defender. You're close to the boundary. An out route's not likely. You can come hard down on the slant knowing you have help here with a safety. And you're just giving up the exact throw that he wants. And again, like I've said, the purpose of this film study is simply to display on film what's going on. So if I'm coaching Trevez, it's like, okay, look, first of all, Trevez, you need to stop the quick game. So right now, don't back up anymore. You've taken your 1/2 step back. Wait and see what he does. See how he's decelerating? See how he hesitated right there? You're going to start to come downhill because, again, you have help. This is a West Coast quarterback. He's not a guy who's throwing bombs. Right now, I'm creeping down on this route, and now I'm killing this route. I'm already coming here, and I'm taking this away. And if I do that, this play is over. I'm not doing it. So in fairness to Trevez, it's highly likely, given what we've seen on film, the coaching from Florida, development-wise, has not been great. It's one of the reasons why you get in the situation you're in defensively. So this is what needs to be done. As we just mentioned, on the end for Trevez, this is how this should be done in the slot. For any slot defender, we've watched Bama do it on those breakdowns. This right here is just consistently something Florida gives up. It's extremely frustrating. And I have to imagine these players are not just doing this on their own. Somewhere along the line, this is just allowed, encouraged, taught, whatever the case may be, because everyone that plays the slot position, slot nickel, star, whatever you want to call it, is doing the same thing. 3rd down and 10, we're going to see a nice play made by Elam here. Florida's going to play man on the edges, and he's going to get a rub. So take a look at this. Florida right here playing man. This is how you get through it. Notice how he's going to go strong through this. Maintain the top of the route. Come down, make a tackle for a 4-yard gain. Really nice job. Again, you can still play man against rub routes as long as you do the right thing. He knows the situation. It's 3rd down and 10. Clear this on the high side. I'll still be able to make the tackle. There he is. Nice tackle. Nice play. It's 3rd and 7. LSU going to come out again in a 3-receiver set here. And if you had to guess where the ball was going to go, would you guess it's going to go here? Because if you did, you'd be right. And this is what we're going to call dodging bullets, something we said that Florida's defense has done quite a bit this year. Despite being really poor, they've dodged a lot of bullets, largely because they've faced a lot of inexperienced teams and quarterbacks that struggle. And this is an easy 1st down completion. They drop this pass and don't get it. This is, again, no resistance. Here comes a route we've seen a million times being run. Nothing new here. It's Groundhog Day, so to speak. I don't know what route Trevez is defending. Again, I don't know how else to say this. He's just not defending any routes that matter. Look at him. Backing up, backing up. Your job, Trevez, is not just to stand behind the receiver, but it's actually to make a play. When he makes a route happen, when you think he's running the slant route, come down and take it away. Your job is not to shadow him from 3 yards behind him. This would be better. This is Marco Wilson, who obviously we will be talking about on this film study. But this is better, and this, again, is not. If I can't see you, you're not close enough, and that would have been a 1st down. Florida dodges a bullet here for a 3rd down stop. And another play we've seen Florida pull off frequently throughout this year on 3rd down is any sort of interior route that's being run, and also really playing zone defense where we have a guy guarding a zone that no one is in. So West Coast offenses like to attack in between the numbers. That's a horrible drawing, but you get the idea. They want to attack in between the numbers, typically really between 0 and 5 yards. This is 3rd down and 7, so they'll extend that to 5 to 10 yards. But regardless, they want to attack in between the numbers. Florida's going to counter with Marco Wilson playing zone here and passing him off to Trey Dean, who's behind him, and then Marco Wilson standing here guarding no one. We're going to pick up here. Marco Wilson will be by himself, although you can't see him. There's a dig route. There he is. Marco Wilson standing here guarding a zone that doesn't have anyone in it. And then Trey Dean, who's shifted over here, doesn't even remotely come close to stopping this dig route. He just simply runs a dig and gets wide open for the easiest throw you can imagine. And there it is. Again, these throws are just far too easy. Not a complicated play, just a simple dig route on 3rd down and 7. Easy completion over the middle of the field. Obviously, if you watch the offensive film video, Florida rarely had a single throw like this all day long, whereas LSU, an inexperienced undermanned team, seemingly had plenty. If this is not your first time watching one of these film breakdowns, then you know how much I don't like corner blitzes in the modern game. There's a place for corner blitzes. They're good against run support. They can be great against teams that are taking 7-step drops, especially out of under center where they're running a play action, their head is turned. In the modern game, however, especially against a West Coast quarterback, they're horrible. Again, he wants to get rid of the ball quickly. And if he wants to get rid of the ball quickly, why are we corner blitzing? Why are we bringing a double corner blitz? Now, it's entirely possible here that we blew the call. You're going to see Steiner rotate this way to cover for the blitz from Marco Wilson. Perhaps Elam was not supposed to blitz. We're not going to know that. Either way, Florida does something they've done all season long, which is completely blow a coverage. Here we go again. Look, take a look at this. Double blitzes. Again, Max, inexperienced guy. Doesn't really matter. What are you taught nowadays? Everybody runs the quick game. You see the blitz, identify where the blitzer's coming from, take your chances because oftentimes the safety is going to be your matchup. Well, I'll do you one better. Rather than your safety being a matchup, I will have no one be your matchup. Notice how neither corner blitz gets there. Neither corner will even really get to touch Max, and he will lob a touchdown pass in. Again, good idea. Great KG corner blitz here. What's the purpose? In fact, Diabate is going to get there before any of them anyway. You tell me. It drives me insane that teams still do this. Grantham is not the only one, although he seemingly does it way more than others. This does not make sense. Does not make sense. This is just a nonsensical blitz, and Florida pays the ultimate price for this. Again, Trevez, a freshman, a guy who's continually struggling on film, is left in the wash. Layup touchdown. Just a bad look for Florida. 3rd down and 2 for LSU, although I haven't shown you any plays like this. They've already happened in the game. We mentioned in the prep video that LSU wants to run the ball, 4th and short, 3rd and short, in the red zone, 3rd and short, 2nd and goal short. They want to run the ball first. Florida seemingly all game long either hadn't watched that or paid attention to it or simply cared. Oftentimes, Florida just allows teams to convert 3rd and 2 or 3 as though it's something that you automatically do. Again, it makes no sense to me. LSU was 7 in the box, Florida was 6, but Florida says, hey, no problem. We can actually defeat that by bringing edge pressure from here. So Marco Wilson will just leave his man completely unguarded. Good thing they're not going to fake this, right? Again, let's play the tendency. Fine, we'll just sell out and leave this guy wide open. Great. Then we'll also bring our nickel here and then have our safety rotate down here. That's going to be late. There's a million ways LSU could have chosen to convert this 1st down, but they'll take the old-fashioned way with a simple inside handoff that, no one's going to be there to stop because, again, Florida plays really passive. Just take a look here. This is 3rd down again. We're barely lined up. Here's Diabate. He's still 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. Here's Ventrell. He's 4 yards off the line of scrimmage. We've got conflict defenders way outside that are not going to be able to get there in time. This is just a layup. And again, LSU, an inferior, inexperienced offensive line that's been struggling. A bunch of guys that haven't played a lot, a bunch of young freshmen and sophomores with inexperience, and this is how Florida plays defense at home on 3rd and 2, and they've been playing that way already for large stretches of this football game. Again, just leaves so much to be desired. Now we're going to run into our first real Marco Wilson play. There were others I would have shown you. I will mention on film that Marco Wilson and lots of other Florida defenders tend to celebrate plays excessively and at weird times. Already in this game, there's been a couple of incomplete passes. Some that he was perhaps fortunate were incomplete, where there's just a lot of fist pumping and celebrating. And again, to me, if I'm coaching, that's not the style I would have my team play. It's over-the-top exuberance, especially when you have not put good stuff out on film all year long. How about you just come with the humble attitude and let your play speak for itself rather than having to posture and stand over people and pose for the camera, especially when you're not having a great season and especially when you're putting things like this on film. So we're matched up here one-on-one. He is going to run an essential comeback route and snap this off, and Marco Wilson, as he often does once he decides that he's in bail technique, is going to just bail like off of your screen And here he is. And it's something I've pointed out on basically every defensive film video that we've done. It's a large reason why, in my opinion, Marco Wilson shouldn't have been playing for the majority of this season. It was evident early on film. He was not putting good stuff on film. Again, this is not personal. Nothing we do on this film breakdown is personal at all. We're just looking at a coach and saying, hey, Marco, if you want to play, you have to put better stuff on film. You can't have this on film. That's just not something we can have. We have to find someone better for that job. And if it wants to be you, great. Then you've got to be over here making a play on the ball. Fine. That's it. Again, nothing personal. We're just looking to film. You got to play better. This is just too easy. It's 2nd down and 13. I mean, look at this conversion. Look at that. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Now, look, he's frustrated. What is he frustrated about? I have no idea. Because almost every time that he's locked up one-on-one or he's a cover 3 bailer, he just bails and bails and bails and bails and bails. And he's not playing defense. He's just a spectator. All right, it's 3rd down and 1. Do we think that LSU is going to pass or run? Do we think that Florida is going to be ready? Well, if you guess they're going to QB sneak it because that's what we put all over the film prep, you're right. And if you also guess that Florida would not even remotely be ready, again, on 3rd down and 1, look, 3rd down and 1, that's a real down. NFL teams stop 3rd down and 1 more often than the opposing team gets it, especially in high leverage games and high leverage situations. So 3rd down and 1 is not an automatic thing that you just get. However, for Florida, it certainly is. It's like, yeah, no problem, you can have it. Again, we're not going to be ready. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys way off the line of scrimmage on a team that loves to quarterback sneak it here. I mean, what is that? Just what is happening with this? Unbelievable. 2nd and 9 for LSU now in the fog, and we'll show you another Florida dodging a bullet play. Again, it's amazing to me how Florida still puts this stuff on film. It's expected because at some point in time, history is in fact the best predictor of the future. Not 100% accurate, but in general, in life, it's often wise to go with what someone's done in the past if they're continually still doing it in real time and say, well, the most likely thing is they're not going to change, despite how much I hope they change. And that's been the story of Florida's defense. Florida's defense, yet again, not ready. It's 2nd and 9. Not only are they not ready, we have Steiner rotating over here to basically play the middle receiver. We have Trevez coming in here, who is presumably going to blitz. We have Diabate picking up this inside hitch route. And then we have Steiner playing, again, impossibly far off on 2nd and 9 on the proverbial and classic slant route where he is going to drop it. Take a look at that. He's going to drop it. And, this is just sort of just mo-ho-hum, walk around. No problem. It's not like we haven't put this on film 500 times this season. I mean, look at this. Where is Steiner even going? Where is he going? Who is he covering? What's happening? He doesn't even make any attempt to run an outbreaking route, and Steiner is just gone. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know how else to do these film breakdowns without just telling you the authentic and candid truth. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff is still happening. Steiner has played a lot of football. Steiner seemingly doesn't know what he's doing. Trevez has not played a lot of football. Trevez doesn't know what he's doing. This is a really undisciplined and poorly coached unit. And again, the film is what reveals these things. The film is what shows you what's going on. You can see it. We just don't know what we're doing and why we're doing it on a large majority of plays, despite the fact that this quarterback wants to throw this route most often as his number one go-to route, and we're just going to keep giving it to him. And thankfully, due to inexperience and LSU struggles, they're dropping a few passes for us to help us out. 1st and 10 for LSU. Here's Marco Wilson on top of your screen, and we're going to run just a simple comeback route where we're going to be absolutely wide open, and Florida's going to dodge another bullet. There it is. Clean pocket, no pressure. LSU's offensive line did remarkably well, given how much they had struggled coming into this game. There's the comeback route. Again, you might as well just be sitting up here, hanging out in the student section, having some Coke and a hot dog and texting your friends and not playing defense, because this is not defense. Being 5 yards away on a basic hitch route, comeback route, again, against a quarterback who's more of a West Coast guy, that's not defense. You're not defending anyone. This is just not it. and you'll dodge a bullet because he drops a pass that absolutely hits him right in the chest. Take a look. There it is. Just right through the old wickets there. But, for Marco Wilson, perhaps they don't talk about this. I really don't know. It's just sort of like, hey, you know what? Once you start bailing, just keep on running all the way to the end zone. And as long as they catch a pass anywhere between you and the end zone, that's fine. We're going to let them do that. I don't know. Am I making light of it? Yes. But truthfully, it's insane to continually see this stuff happening and to have no personnel changes, no coaching changes, no methodology changes, nothing changed. It's just sort of madness repeating itself. First and 10 for LSU. Down 4 right now in the fourth. Crucial part of the game. Here's James Houston, a guy this film study also tends to show at times struggling. Again, the film just says what it says, but here he is. Take a look. There's Houston. Just go ahead and watch him on this play. Okay. He's here. He's here. Ball carrier's there. One more time. Here we go. Crazy part about this is there's no trickeration. There's nothing happening. There's no guard pulling in here. There's nothing for him to see there. He just goes there. There he goes. Right in the gap. Look at him. And boom. And jump in the gap. And jump in the gap. And one more time, jump in the gap. Now look, as a linebacker, you're free to go to any gap you want to. You are the free players. Your job is to stop the run and go to where it is. Now, you have to have solid gap control, obviously. You can't just immediately commit over here and give him this gap, but he needs to allow himself to be in a position where he can hold right here, and as soon as he sees the running back commit, he can come make this tackle, which is what should happen. He should be here for this. There's no reason why this shouldn't be a tackle, but you really can't make a tackle if you're here, and then that just leads to a guy being shot out of a cannon all the way down to, of course, Brad Stewart, who's playing safety, and our safeties for years now have made the most tackles on our team, and that's, one reason why. And here's a look at the other angle, just one more time, so we can see exactly what happens here. Handoff, here's the hole, here's Houston, and again, just take a look. There we go. Safety makes a tackle. So pay attention, Houston, right side of your screen right there. Hand off. Again, you can see the tight end telling you we're gonna go this way. This is where we want to go. You're the free linebacker. You're unblocked, and you're just gonna take yourself right out of the play. One more time. There it is. Right now he should be flowing here. He should be heads up here. So that way if the play comes over here, he still heads up here. He can make the move. If it comes into this hole, he can make the tackle, and he's over there. There we are. Guys played a lot of football, been in the program for a long time. Just, again, hard to understand what is going on. Now it's the next play. It's 1st and 10, and if you were thinking that now is the right time to bring another corner blitz, then you guessed correctly. Here we go again. Play fake to bring the linebackers up. Nice work. And corner blitz. There it comes from Marco. And now we're one-on-one with Brad Stewart. And we're going to look to that side because, of course, as a quarterback, you dream of these matchups. This is what you want. Safety versus your best receiver. Oh, by the way, do you think this corner blitz fooled anybody? Great job by the left tackle recognizing, I've got a corner blitz. I'm going to come take that out. Then Cox sort of inexplicably either forgets there's a corner blitz or does something. I don't know why he does it. He should be on the interior side of this. One more time. He knows he has a corner blitz coming. He should just be taking this gap here, take this B gap. He doesn't. They effectively block each other. Again, it's something Florida does. It's like we're not all on the same page. If Cox doesn't have a corner blitz coming, then it makes sense he's trying to stop Max from running outside. But he does. Now the corner blitz itself gets picked up. If we have Cox through here, we end this play and we could say, hey, successful use of a corner blitz because we actually caught them running a deep route, which is, and it wasn't a fast developing deep route, right? It's like a sluggo here. Little hitch and go. Either way, it's not good for us because Brad Stewart gets beat. We have 2 players taken out by 1 left tackle. It makes a hero play. Now we have the matchup we want. And then we have our second deep pass. almost for a touchdown on a corner blitz, which we have been pointing out time and time again has been one of Florida's worst defensive play calls, yet there it is, right back in the rotation. It's now 3rd and goal for LSU. We've mentioned they want to run the ball in general, but it is 3rd and goal, not 2nd and goal. The ball is on the 3-yard line. It's quite a good ways to have to run, and James Houston is in the game. Not only is James Houston in the game, he is now covering this H-back or running back here. We're going to get a motion out and take a look at the action here. Houston's going to change him, trail him, and he is nowhere near him. Again, this is just a layup touchdown. Can't get any easier than this. Let's just go ahead and line up in the backfield. Know from film, this is a matchup everybody wants, and if we can get it, we're going to take it. It's going to race across the field, take the snap, have a little bit of traffic for Houston to get through, and just the easiest of all touchdown passes. Teams know it. Teams know what we're weak at. They see the same things anyone else that watches film could see. They attack them, and they capitalize. 3rd and 3 for LSU. It's the 4th quarter. It's 34-31. We know that LSU likes to run the ball, preferably in these situations. Florida is going to leave the center here without a tackle over front. And on top of that, again, allowing the middle to be wide open. Take a look. If you're LSU and you got to get 3 yards and you like to run the ball and you like to run the ball inside, this looks pretty good right now, right? We have no resistance here early on. There you go. We're going to allow our center to kick out and essentially double whoever he wants. There it goes. We have a linebacker having to fill. It's too late. And we'll just run it right up in here. Again, this just doesn't make any sense how Florida is defending these things. We're bringing all these edge pressures here. We're holding off here for the zone read. But in reality, we're just saying, here's a gift for you. Just take an inside handoff. Give us everything we want, and we'll convert that first down. All right, 2nd and 10 for LSU, 34-31. Not a lot of great stuff that we're showing here on the defensive film. Let's bring another nickel pressure because we love those. Those are always great. And on top of that, let's continue to leave Marco Wilson in the game despite the film he puts out there. And then let's watch him. Really nothing. There's really nothing there. I've watched this so many times from the all-22 angle, and there's just nothing there. They're both hand fighting. Marco sort of loses his balance because he tends to play defense on his heels anyway, because once he starts backing up, we all know he's going to back up. And there he goes on the ground. Yeah, he is on the ground. I mean, there's no doubt he's on the ground. But again, if you look at this even here, even from this distance, which is not good, right? It's 2 shadowy figures. Not a lot of leverage on a shove there. I mean, his weight's coming back this way. And if your weight's coming back this way, you can't just launch somebody the other way. And nice easy throw. And nice big gain. Of course, Marco's frustrated. I'm getting pushed off with. Again, I can't say definitively if he does or doesn't. Doesn't seem like he does there. Seems like they're just hand fighting and he loses balance. But either way, nice big completion down the sideline for LSU. On, again, another simple little comeback route to Marco Wilson's side. It was really surprising, actually, that LSU didn't attack Marco Wilson's side way more often. They were their own worst enemy at times with that. They got him one-on-one a lot, and most of the times they went to his side. They took advantage, but they didn't always do it, as we're going to see here in a minute. It's 3rd down and 10 now for LSU. This is ultimately the play of the game, the play that everyone is going to remember. This is, of course, the shoe toss. On the previous drive, they actually had flipped, which they've done here is they put their best receiver on Elam, and they let Elam and him go 1-on-1, and Elam took care of that. Again, surprised they didn't just keep him over here on the matchup that was working so well, but they had other ideas on this play. Maybe LSU diabolically knew what was going to happen. They knew they were going to get this. Again, here we go. Florida playing a cover. Take a look. Cover 2 zone here. It's a nice look at it, right? Safety splitting the field in half. There you go. Corners sinking down low, guarding the flats. And then you have here and here and here. Simple little cover 2, keeping everything in front so that they can come downhill on one of these routes here because, of course, it is 3rd and 10. LSU playing very conservative. In fact, they had a fair catch moment in this game just a bit earlier where Bo Pelini almost lost his mind, and rightfully so, because if they not fair caught it, they would have been 20 yards closer. But either way, they're going to take this check down right here, which has no shot of getting a first down. He goes for the hurdle. Marco Wilson decides, I've got a shoe. I'm going to launch this shoe 25 yards down the field. I'm pumped up. And immediately Bernie actually slaps him in the face. He's not so pumped up by this. And then Diabate comes in and says, what are you doing, man? Why would you do this? But this whole sequence to me is just sort of what Florida's defense has been about all year long. It's undisciplined. It's not professional. It doesn't do things correctly. Look at this. What is this? You've got Steiner standing over someone as though he's had a season of greatness, as though he's done something worthy of standing over someone. Steiner wasn't even in on the play, didn't make a tackle. He's now standing over someone, which to me is ridiculous. I wouldn't even stand for this kind of behavior in general. It's just not a professional quality look. It's a ragtag. Look at that. That's absurd. I mean, you've given up 34 points to a team of freshmen and sophomores with 46 scholarship players, and you're standing over them. You're throwing a shoe. You're running around looking at their sideline, signaling incomplete. I mean, what is happening here? If I were all these guys, I'd be ashamed the score is 34-34. That's the kind of culture that you need. A championship culture and a championship mindset is not pleased with itself after stopping a freshman quarterback and a bunch of young, inexperienced LSU players at a 34-34 home game. You're just not. That's not the kind of mentality you should be having. Now, I recognize they're not being coached that way. They're the players. They're responding to the coaching and the culture. I'm not going to blame them for it. I'm just pointing out that this is not a good look at all for the Florida football team. Shoe gets thrown, taunt the sideline over here, stand over and posture it here. Now, this is a good look for Florida. Bernie saying, what's going on, man? Diabate's a better look. He's not slapping him in the face. Man, what's happening here? You know, right? What is this? Why would you do this? What is the scenario? Look, again, here, we're in here. We're all in here. We're huddling. Wilson, of course, as he is just surprised. I can't believe that something happened. I can't believe that me throwing a cleat, there it is. There's the cleat, right? 10, 20, 25 yards down the field is not going to draw some sort of penalty. And again, I didn't do it. What? I don't get it. Again, that's just how it's been for Florida all season long. There's really no need to fixate on this one play. The fact that Florida was in this situation at this time was embarrassing enough. The fact of how Florida put themselves in this situation, what they've put on film this season, this sort of was the inevitable result at some point in time. Most of us, myself included, thought the day of reckoning was going to be against Alabama. It just so happened that it came against LSU. But you reap what you sow, and this game was really the culmination of so many things that had been visible all season long that shockingly came to the surface against a team that was vastly inferior this season to Florida. And then you have something like this happen, which again, this is just the most horrible of all looks right here. The only benefit for Florida is that there's a couple of players that are at least immediately aware this is not good, right? There are some players here who recognize you can't behave that way. That's at least indicative the entire culture itself on defense is not broken. All the flags come in. And again, one more look at it. The refs decide the fate of Florida hanging in the balance. And of course, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for throwing a shoe 25 yards down the field. Marco Wilson does not go out of the game for this. In fact, he stays in the game. He plays the entire rest of the game on defense. I don't know how you think that's something that's good for your team to experience. Hey, this is okay. If you're going to cost your team this significantly, you get to stay in the game. Again, a lot of questions that need to be answered for Florida as a culture, as a team, starting all the way with the top. And obviously this game, an embarrassing loss, an embarrassing season for Florida's defense on so many levels comes to this ugly end. Really just difficult and frustrating stuff across the board. It seems weird to say this now, but as always, if you like the content, like this video, sub to the channel, send me your feedback. It's certainly worth noting, by the way, that while I break down players each and every week and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, sometimes really like this week, kind of all the ugly, it's never personal. These guys are humans. They make mistakes. Marco Wilson made a mistake. The bigger thing to talk about is how the defense plays, how it handles itself, the level of professionalism, getting lined up. Those things matter more to me than someone throwing a shoe. Someone throwing a shoe is a behavior that is indicative of lack of discipline. And again, it's not something that I think that me as an analyst is gonna sit here and shame Marco for and obviously make it personal, because for me it's just not. It's what we see on the film. That's what we're talking about, and things need to get better or they get worse. There's so many things for Florida to fix. It's going to be a very interesting game against Alabama, and then perhaps an even more interesting offseason to see how Florida chooses to handle what has obviously become a growing problem on this side of the ball. And, with that, I'm James from the Gator Nation Football Podcast, and I'll see you next time. We'll be breaking down the film for Alabama.